Hey beloveds, Victoria here and you're watching My Books and Me, and today I'm bringing you my November haul. And I've got quite a few, well, a couple of books this month, all of which are very exciting and fingers crossed I can read soon. So let's just dive right in. So the first book was kindly sent to me from Macmillan, Australia, and that is Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. This is the second book in it's the Renegades series, right? The Renegades trilogy. Now, I've not read the first book. I don't even own the first book, so I do need to go out and get that. So I don't really know what this book is about, but I've heard really great things about the Renegades series, and Marissa Meyer in general is an author that everyone seems to love. I've only read her book Heartless, which I loved, so hopefully I can pick up the first book at some point soon and read this series. So thank you, Pan, for sending this my way. Then I picked up A Map of Days by Ransom Riggs, the fourth book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. I've actually only read the first book in this series. I've actually read it twice. The second time I read it in the hopes of actually continuing on with the rest of the series. I still haven't done that yet, but I really do need to do that now that I have this book. Hopefully over the holidays I might do that. I'm also actually surprised at how big this book is, but I was in Target one day and they didn't have a massive selection of YA books. I had a lot of kids books, I had a lot of adult books, and a lot of like non-fiction, but like the smallest section of YA, and this was like the only one on the shelf that I was like, yeah, I want that. So I picked it up because it goes with the rest of my collection. Then while I was doing some Christmas shopping on Booktopia, I took advantage of the fact that they were having massive discounts for Click Frenzy. So the first book I picked up is The Kingdom of Children by Rebecca Coleman, and what really sold me on this was firstly the cover looks really pretty, but the tagline here is the most anticipated and controversial novel of the year. Now this book came out back in 2012, I think it was, or was it 2015? Hang on. 2012. So like I haven't heard anything about this because back in 2012 I wasn't really on the book scene, or in the book scene, and so it really intrigued me that this was like controversial. So I looked up on Goodreads just to make sure I wasn't going to be buying a book that was, you know, 2-star rated and no one liked it, but this has really positive reviews. And I'll just read you the blurb on the back, the synopsis on the back, which honestly I don't think does the synopsis that was on Goodreads justice, but we'll just go with it. It's the job of adults to teach teenagers to be responsible. That's what grown-ups do. You've fallen for your son's best friend. You are a teacher. You are abusing your power, your responsibility, your student. You know it's wrong, but you cannot stop. I suppose it was the beginning of a love story. And from what I've seen, it's not actually, from what I've seen on the other synopsis, the longer synopsis, the teacher isn't actually his teacher. She's a kindergarten teacher who falls in love with her son's best friend, who is 16. It sounds like it's going to be really interesting, so hopefully it's, I don't know, I'm excited to read this one. It sounds like it's going to be a very interesting read. I then also picked up Events That Shaped History. This is published by Hinkler. There's no actual author on this, but this was published in 2014, so it looks at this looks at major events in history from 1900 all the way up to 2014, although I think it was like 2013 or something. So there's the likes of Einstein publishing his theory on relativity, the discovery of penicillin, Rosa Parks and civil rights, Kennedy's assassination, the first test tube baby, all the way up to Pope Benedict's resignation. I love things like this, so I thought I would pick it up because it was only very, very cheap, so why not? Then the last book I picked up from Booktopia wasn't actually one that was on sale, but it's a new release and I'm very excited for this one. I've been very excited for this. I think I first saw it in one of the publisher's media releases, or it came up on Facebook, one or the other, probably both. But it is I'll Be There For You, The One About Friends by Kelsey Miller. I haven't heard much about whether this book is like good or not, or I don't know. I haven't heard anything about the book, but it is about Friends and the phenomenon that is Friends, and Friends is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. so I just had to get it. I'll read you the blurb. In September 1994, NBC aired the pilot of a new half-hour comedy sitcom. It began as plainly as the title implied, but with 5 20-somethings lounging at a coffee house talking about nothing much. For the first 3 minutes, they didn't even have names. Then Rachel Green burst into Central Perk, hoisting up her sopping wet wedding dress, her hair utterly unremarkable. She introduced herself to the gang, and the gang to all of us. The story had begun. Over 20 years since this low-profile debut, Friends is as enduringly popular and obsessively watched as ever. But has the 90s classic stood the test of time? Are some parts of it more problematic than we remember? What was it that made it such comforting viewing? And who was the cast's least favourite guest star? Kelsey Miller answers all these questions and more in this definitive look at one of the most beloved shows in television history. Very excited for this one. I'm definitely planning on picking this up very, very, very soon. I love Friends and it's going to be so good. Finally, the last book was kindly sent to me from Hachette, Australia, and oh, it looks so good, and that is The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This is an ARC. It comes out on the 10th of January next year. If I remember, I will insert the actual cover, although I really love this cover. So I really love this cover. I feel like I love this cover just a tiny bit more than the actual cover, but the actual cover looks really good. So 2 sisters, 1 crown, a war that could tear the world apart. This has been billed as the most exciting YA debut of 2019. So I've not heard of this until it arrived in my hot little hands, but I'm very excited. All hail the Girl King. Sisters Lu and Min have always understood their places as the princesses of the empire. Lu knows she is destined to become the dynasty's first female ruler, while Min is resigned to a life in her shadow. Then their father declares their male cousin Set the heir instead. A betrayal that sends the sisters down 2 very different paths. Determined to reclaim her birthright, Lu goes on the run. She'll need an army to win back the throne. Alone in a volatile court, Min's hidden power awakens, a forbidden deadly magic that could secure Set's reign or allow Min to claim the throne herself. The battle for the empire has begun. I don't know too much more about this book. As I say, I hadn't heard anything about it until it arrived and I got to read the blurb. But I'm excited for this. Hopefully I can read it before it comes out. I've been very terrible and slack with doing with reviewing books that have sent to me and reading and reviewing them. But yeah, this sounds really good. So let me know if you're excited for this and if you've heard anything and whatnot. I don't know. It's a debut, it's a fantasy, and those are usually pretty good. So I'm excited for this one. And that is it for my November book haul. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what your thoughts are on them, if you're excited for The Girl King coming out next year. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!